Hi, and welcome to Are We There Yet? The podcast show where we like to speak to real people, hear some real stories, some true struggles and true success. Today, I'm going to have a pleasure of sitting down with a true creative powerhouse, Mizz Kassim, a Manchester-based filmmaker, author, director, singer, film writer, and the founder of Wallpaper Films. Mizz Kassim has spent over 2 decades shaping stories and challenge and inspire and connect people and audiences across the world. She's an award-winning storyteller. Her documentary Street Eye earned her a Royal Television Society Award. Her work has reached global audiences and through film, literature, even music that's been placed in TV shows like the HBO's The Wire. Her debut novel, Redfish Volume 1, is now available on Amazon. It dives deep into love, identity, redemption, and obviously is now being developed into a television show as well. Mizz Kassim's career is proof that creativity has no limits. Welcome to the show today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, before we get into it, how have you been? How's your weekend been?
My weekend's been quite busy, actually. It's been a lot, really. I've just been writing, rehearsing, filming, just doing all kinds of stuff, all creative things. It's been quite manic, to be honest, but enjoyable. I'm lucky to be doing what I like to do. So,
that's good.
Yeah, I'm happy.
Best way to spend the weekend. Spent mine in bed most of it. I've been ill, coming down with a little bit of a cold. You can probably hear it in my voice. So, take your time with me today and judge me. We're still here fighting as we do, Are we there yet?
Yeah.
Well, today we want to speak to you about quite a few things, just quite a lot to cover. You've had your career goes from one thing to another.
Yeah.
You seem to be talented in so many different aspects of life. You have so many different skills and talents. Today we want to hear a little bit about everything. So just to start off with, according to your Amazon author page, you were born in Zimbabwe and moved to the UK around the age 2. What do you remember about the transition moving to the UK at that time?
To be quite honest, not a great deal, actually, because I was so young. But as I grew up in the UK, I did notice that, there would be times where my mum was pushing the pram up the road and she'd have all those kids like hanging off the edge of those old-fashioned prams.
Oh, yeah.
Big ones that everybody wants now. And I can remember walking with her one day and some skinheads actually spotted us.
Oh.
And they started throwing bricks at my mum.
What?
And yeah, they started throwing bricks at the pram and stuff like that.
What?
My mum just picked the bricks up and started throwing them back, to be honest, because she's built like that. So.
What year was this around?
Do you know what? I cannot tell you. All I can remember is that I was really young. I was probably about 6 or 7 or something.
80s, 90s?
Yeah, something, yeah. Yeah. So that was a bit crazy, that, yeah. But there was things like that, and some people were really lovely in the UK, I've got to be honest, and really sweet. But, we had to come across a lot of things like that. And I was brought up in an area that was predominantly white. So there weren't...
What area was that?
In an area. In an area that was predominantly white. And, there's a lot of nice people around, but there's very few. In my school, I think I was the only person of colour.
Okay.
And then some doctors' sons turned up and they were the only, there's a couple of other people, but it was really quite rare to have mixed race or black people in the building, to be honest. Never seen.
How did growing up in Manchester shape your identity?
I think growing up in Manchester was brilliant because it was such a change from where I'd originally grown up in the UK, because it was very isolated. And when I moved, my mum came to Manchester and she bought a couple of businesses. We bought an art house cinema, which was great, beautiful. And I used to get paid, £5 for hoovering the carpet and taking the tickets, ripping the tickets up and everything. And it was great. It's fun. And so it was really creative, and the kids were just wild in Manchester. They did what they needed to do and it was great. a lot of freedom, and it was great to see so many people of colour and different ethnicities. So it really shaped my creative world, actually, coming from Manchester, growing up here.
How would you say coming from a multicultural background has helped shape your creativity?
I think it's been good, but I think it's mainly come from the black side, I've got to be honest. I've got a lot of, I don't know, it's just more happening culturally for me, you know, because I'm like, I'm half Asian as well. I'm half Asian. I'm half African, and I've got Dutch ancestry as well. So, yeah.
Asian, African and Dutch.
Yeah. So there's quite a lot going on there, but I really got a lot from the people of Manchester. I've always found them amazing people. They embraced me, you know, as another person of colour, and I just slotted right in, and it showed me that, you know, you'd literally go to the shop. Like my mum would say, oh, go to the shop and go and get this or that. And I'd nip to the shop, and as I'm walking round places like Hume and Moss Side, I'm seeing, oh, there's a guy, and he's going, oh, there's a studio. We've got a studio here. Do you sing? Do you want to come? And it was incredible. Like the opportunities were amazing, like that I got from Manchester anyway.
Manchester seems to be that place that's just bursting with opportunities.
Yeah.
Outside of London. Yeah.
Yeah.
Most definitely. Your LinkedIn profile mentioned that you studied at the Manchester College in Arts Technology. Later, you earned a master's in film production and screenwriting at Salford University. How did those experiences shape your creative direction?
Honestly, it was a great experience to do that. And I definitely recommend that people do that. But I only really got my film degrees because people told me they're not going to take you seriously in film if you don't have a degree. So what I actually went and did was I got a camera and I went out and learned how to film myself, and by watching movies, actually. So by the time I got to film school, I was already a well-seasoned director or producer. So doing the actual courses was easy, to be honest. It wasn't difficult because I'd already been doing and making my own films for about 2 years before I got there. And it was only like, because I was going to the American Film Festival to promote some work, that people were saying to me, look, if you don't have this profile, this film profile, if you don't have this degree, they're not going to... I got there and they didn't care. They didn't actually ask me, not one person. So after going to all that trouble to get film degrees, not one person asked me, you know, do you have a film degree? They just went, show me your work, showed them my work. They liked it and they weren't interested in the film degree.
Experiences always beats, you know, obviously qualifications, always like, yeah.
It's nice to have qualifications as a backup, definitely, you know, and I recommend that to people as well. But, you know, go out there and film, and go out there and act, go out there and sing, go out there and write, just go and do it. Doing is the, you know, actually physically doing it is, there's no comparison.
Who were your early inspirations in music, film, literature, whatever?
Well, I really love Alfred Hitchcock. I just love Alfred Hitchcock. I mean, I'm just like obsessed with him. And a couple of my short films have been, people have said they're quite Hitchcockian, you know. I just love the way that he doesn't say words and he uses the camera, the shots, the angles, and he insinuates a lot to the viewer. So when you're watching the movie, you know, you get that real sense of being a detective within the film. So I just love things like that, where it's a bit insidious and it's hidden, and you really need to be paying attention to the film to notice what's going on.
So growing up in Manchester, were there any particular communities or groups that pushed you or inspired you to get into filmmaking?
There wasn't in Manchester. There wasn't really anybody really that was popping up that was doing film, but certainly in music, you know, there was lots of local bands, you know, 52nd Street, people like that, you know, Sylvia Teller. I used to love, you know, following Sylvia Teller and things like that. There's lots of people that are really doing it in Manchester and making waves and creating art, really, you know.
I mean, how important do you think representation in storytelling, especially coming from a diverse background like yours?
Well, it's most definitely imperative, because if you don't get that voice, if you don't have that voice, people don't know what it's like to be a person of colour, from an ethnic background. They don't know what that's like. And if we don't have enough voices creating work for us to see how that shapes itself, then, it's that's something that we need to push forward, and we can continue to, create cultural things and,
Different types of material.
Yeah.
On your network ISA profile, it says that your documentary Street Eye won a Royal Television Society Award.
Mm-hmm.
What inspired that project? What message did you want to convey through it?
Well, in that particular documentary, I just made a documentary. I didn't know it was going to go up for an award or anything like that. I just made it. And it was the real sort of message behind it was to promote people who are on the street, who are creative and talented, who wouldn't otherwise get that avenue to show. Yeah.
That kind of early success must have been, big confidence boost for you.
It was a shock, to be honest. I was completely shocked.
How did the Royal Television Awards, affect your trajectory as a filmmaker after that? Because you've won an award now.
Well, to be honest with you, I'll keep it real. I was shocked. I can remember when I went up to get the award and somebody stood in my way. There was quite a well-known producer that I can't name that stood in my way to get the award. And basically what happened was I went up to get it and they were waiting for me to collect it. But for some reason, he thought that Mizz Kassim was a man. And so he stood in my path and he said, no, this is for the award winner. And I was like, because I was making my way to the stage and he actually stood in my path to block it. And I said, no, I'm Mizz Kassim. And he was like, oh. And then he had to confer with other people and they were like, yeah, can you let her on the stage to get her award? Because this is Mizz Kassim. Mizz Kassim isn't actually male. She's female. Yes. So that in itself was a strange thing, that somebody just looked at me and thought, sometimes because of the way you look, people judge that book and they look at me and you think, I probably do hairdressing or makeup or something like that. It's really cheesy. And I'm like, are you a hairdresser? No. I'm a filmmaker, So that was weird.
So you founded Wallpaper Films in Manchester. What motivated you to start your own production company?
I think the thing is I wanted to make films and I just researched it and people said to me, you need to have a film company, you need to do this, you need to do that. So I just created one. That's what I did, really. It's just like part and parcel of preparing yourself to create that work. You need that kind of platform.
And what were your biggest challenges that you faced being an independent artist, trying to break into the industry, especially when you're starting out?
You know what? I said this in my recent interview on the BBC. I just didn't have that. I never had that where I've really struggled. I think it's because I've just been there at the right time. My timing's been good. And I'll give you an example. When I first decided I wanted to sing, I told my mum I'm going to be a singer. My mum was like, oh, okay. Like mum's rolling their eyes, but she was very supportive, but she was just kind of like, yeah. And I just wanted to do real material, original material. I didn't want to be one of those singers who were doing cover versions, but the only problem I had was I didn't know how to write. I'd never written a song before in my entire life. So I just thought, right, let me get some phrases together. Let me see what I can do. So I created a song. I had very little money at the time. Me and this guy, we scraped our money together, never produced a track in our lives, hired this little 8-track down the road in someone's bedroom and put a track together. Did that track, got invited to sing it at a local event in Hume, sung it at the local event. I got off. I was so nervous. It went well. Organizer comes up to me, Mizz, everyone really liked that. Can you do that again? And I said, no, I've just gone on the stage and sung it. He went, can you do it again? And he said, please. He said, we can give you more expenses. Went back on stage, did it again. 3 times I got asked to do the song again. And I said, is no one getting sick of this? And it was like, it was a weird situation. Went home, got home, shut my little flat door, papers on the floor, because there weren't text messages back then. No one had any phones. I had little notes posted. People had found out where I lived and posted notes through my letterbox. One was from a manager saying, we've just working with the remixes from Kylie Minogue's remix, who just remixed Kylie Minogue's #1 hit. Another guy was saying, that was the same producer, that was working on the Grace Jones Slave to the Rhythm track. And they went, we didn't see you perform, but we heard it was so good that we're going to come down and do you want to work with us? And I was like, yeah. So it was just crazy. I just think sometimes if you're there at the right time and the place, I've always managed to time it just right. I can't explain it really. It's divine intervention, I think.
Greater power at work.
Yeah, there must be, because I just, I didn't set off to do any of that. Just fell into my lap, to be honest. I just happened to be there doing that thing at the right time, and somebody was looking for someone who could do what I was doing. So I'm so lucky. I mean, I know that's not for everyone, and everybody else doesn't have it the same way, but I'm not going to, when you get on these shows, these people pretend they've had it really hard. I haven't, I've been really fortunate. Yeah. So it's not, it's not the norm, but I've really bounced from one thing to another, to another, to another.
I'm lucky. I need to learn whatever you're doing.
Well,
some of it.
I think it's divine intervention, honestly, because,
So you're writing. What really defines you as a writer? What makes your storytelling unique?
The pain. The pain and the darkness, yeah. Listen.
I'm all about pain. Listen, I want to hear about pain. What pain are we talking about? Because pain
the dark,
from nowhere.
I've got quite a dark. I just attracted to vampires, darkness. I am a very sort of happy, positive person, but I'm intrigued by the pain in people's lives, the trauma in their lives. And that's what I try to depict in my, in my movies, film stories. They always got that dark, sinister edge. And I just love that,
Sorry. Where did that come from, that darkness?
I think sorry.
It's not a fascination, but you seem to be really into the darkness. Where did that come from?
I just think it's your experience in life, just being a mixed race person. And that was hard, sometimes, because some people would say to me, you're black. And I'd go, well, actually, I'm mixed race. I'm embracing both aspects of who I am. And I'd have full scale arguments with guys going, you're just black. And I'd go, yeah, I am black, but I'm also this as well. I've got other aspects to me. And I used to get into so many confrontations with people over that. I thought, don't tell me what I am. I know what.
Ever felt conflicted, being from 2 different cultural backgrounds?
No, but people who come into contact with you are more conflicted. They seem to have the issue more with you being mixed race. I've never had an issue with it, but I have people who just go, no, they want to define you for you. And that's quite hard, especially when I was growing up and as a teenager. That was quite hard for me. But
you're a writer, a director, producer, and a consultant. That's a unique range of roles. Mm-hmm. Which role really feels most natural to you?
All of them. They all blend into each other. They all marry each other. It's all creative. It's art. When you're an artist, you create. And sometimes I create and it's vocally. It's sometimes it's a story. Sometimes it's visual. I also paint abstract art as well. Okay. So there's that element as well. So I just think when I speak to other creative people, they think a similar thing as well, which is, as a creative person, I always feel like it's something that needs to come out of me. It's not something that I actually control. I've got no control over it. It's like sneezing. It's like coughing. It's like just walking or breathing. I need to get that out. And it comes out in whatever format, you know?
Sorry, on Network ISA, it mentions 20 years in the creative industry. What keeps you motivated?
It's actually 30.
30?
Yeah. It's actually, yeah.
Stand corrected.
Yeah, it's actually 30.
Again, let me correct. In Network ISA, it's been 30 years in the creative industry. And what keeps the fire burning creatively in you? Because creativity is not something that you learn, and it's not something that, you know, some days you might be motivated, some days you're not. Some people may change careers from time to time within 30 years. What keeps you going? And especially in the creative industry, you know, you don't have a paycheck every day. And a lot of people give up because of that reason as well, or may change a career after maybe 10 years. You've given 30. What keeps you going?
I think because I've been fortunate as well, and I've not had to struggle to find work and be involved in projects, that helps you. But it's just a natural, I'm just naturally creative, and I need an outlet. And I think that's the driving force. If you talk to a lot of creative people as well, they do it because they love being creative. They get something back from it, you know. So for me, it's more about putting my art. I think it's great when you write a story or you create a book or novel or a song or a piece of art, and people are there going, actually, yeah, that's all right, that, you know, quite enjoy that. And it's there's something to be said about that. You can't beat that feeling, to be honest, you know, because you're influencing the world.
Yes.
You know, and especially when your records get played globally, which I'm lucky enough for that to be the case, then it's amazing. You know, like I was in Thailand once and I'm walking around and I just went past a bar and I thought, that's my record. They're actually playing it all the way out here. And I just couldn't, I was like, wow, you know, and you go, it was crazy. It was surreal. You know, like sometimes that's a bit crazy that
your music,
you know, and then you'll see like a poster, like I've seen like billboards and things like that, and walked past them and thought, why am I even on that? Why are they, you know, how come? But sometimes I think it's a good thing when you're creative, you have to almost cut yourself off from those types of things, because that's where people become unstuck, to be honest. If you really believe that hype, you've got to look at it as in you're being creative, whatever transpires. You put it out there, you enjoy what you do, but you also can step away from that and be with your family and your friends and be in the real world, because a lot of people struggle with that. I'm lucky because I've been very grounded. I come from a very grounded background, and I've not had that issue where you'll do a performance and there's like 80,000 people and then you step off that stage and then you're actually making, you know, a cup of tea in your kitchen, and all that's the screaming and the chaos is gone. And to me, it is odd, and it is a bit of a strange feeling, but you have to be able to go, that's part of what you do, and you step away from it.
Performing for 80,000 people?
Yeah.
Where was that?
I had a massive festival for COP Festival in 2000. I was the face of that festival, so it was all over Europe.
Nice.
There was 80,000 people there. That was crazy.
Nice.
You know, they had to cover, I think there was an Olympic-sized swimming pool that they had to cover to build our dressing rooms on the top. So yeah, it was amazing, but it was great because after that, me and the producer are just like, oh, thank God that's over. You know, we didn't make a show of ourselves. Like, you know, just let's get on with our day. So
2015 and still in high school.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I need a tour in Europe.
Yeah.
So, can you describe your writing process? I mean, what does it start with? Visuals? Is it like a theme? Is it a feeling?
It's a feeling.
Feeling.
It's a definite feeling. I mean, it will be It might even be a word. I might even walk down the street, look in the sky, see something, see some activity or something, and that will trigger me to write a whole novel. It's just weird. I am a bit autistic as well, so I think differently from other people. So the details for everything for me. So the more detail and more complex something is, the more I understand it. And, ask me to wire a plug or something. I'm like, oh my God, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to switch things on. I have real problem with just doing basic things sometimes. But the more complex something is, I can understand it more.
Do you ever get a creative block? And if you ever do, never.
No.
In any field?
No.
You've
lucky,
write or
just
think?
Lucky. I think what happens is when I very first started, I was like, I've got no idea how to write a song. What do I do? So I thought about phrases that I enjoyed and that I liked, and then I put them on a piece of paper, kind of looked at them, and then that helped to trigger thoughts. But that was really back when I first started. But now I can literally someone can go, oh, write about this or that. That was it. It just flows now. You've got to the point after 30 years, you've got to the point where you don't get blocks like that. It just flows. The creativity just flows. Once you tap into a resource and you make your mind relax, and you don't put pressure on yourself, you meet it where it needs to be met, and you create when you need to create, and you create under pressure. I can do things. I find that I work well under a lot of pressure.
Your ISA profile mentions collaborations with big names such as John Hurt, Helen Mirren, and Sean Bean. Unlucky guy. What were those experiences like working with such people like
absolutely amazing? I've met a lot of people. I've come into contact with them. Some people aren't nice.
Okay.
But they were lovely. Like John Hurt, an absolute gentleman. Sean Bean, the same. I like to write a lot of stories on my Facebook, sort of highlighting these little stories and interludes that I have with people who are really well known. Helen Mirren was so nice. She was lovely. I was on the set of that Prime Suspect with her, and she stuck up for all the, I was just a background artist in that one. And she just stuck up for us all and made sure we were looked after, while they were filming a horrible scene in an alleyway in the middle of the night. It was great. Yeah.
Looking back, what's one lesser known project that you've done that really holds a deep personal, accomplishment to yourself or a meaning to you?
I like I filmed a vampire short, which I'm going to put up onto my Facebook page. Mizz Kassim /facebook.com. I'm on.
Check it out.
Yeah. And I'm going to put that up because I absolutely adore this little vampire film that I've done. I just love it. It's just it's got loads of nods to old ways of making films and things like that. I really, it's one of my favourite pieces of work that I've done because it's really enchanting when you watch it. It really draws you in a very short space of time.
Since you're a fan of vampires, what did you think of the movie that came out earlier this year, Sinners, the vampire movie Sinners?
Do you know what? I haven't even seen that yet. I haven't even seen that one yet. No. Okay. I love watching things like Interview with a Vampire, the original one. That was brilliant. And also they did a remake of that. Anne Rice did a remake of it. She's the lady who wrote the actual novels that it's based on. And they did a remake of it, and that was, I didn't think they could top the first one, but it was exceptional. And she said that was more like what she intended it to be from the Brad Pitt version and Antonio Banderas version. So she said that was more realistic to how the vampires were in her novel. Yeah. Oh, Bram Stoker.
Yes,
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, Blade, innit? Blade, you can't Blade out.
I absolutely love Blade, yeah.
On your network ISA bio, you credited as a singer-songwriter with over 1 million record sales. How did your journey in the music industry begin? Well, kind of covered that a little
kind of touched upon that, yeah. it was just being in the right place at the right time and delivered the goods, and people liked what I was doing. So, that's really what helped me along. And also a thing which is underrated is having that respect for other people in the craft and not being a diva, not being a awkward. I'm not a difficult person to work with. I'm just real, just tell it like if I like something, I like it. If I don't, I don't. And I'm just, I don't like all that diva business. And I think people find it easy to work with me because I'm not like that at all. I'm just a regular person who's just got a creative brain. That's it.
I want to speak to you about this as well. Mentions your music being featured in HBO's The Wire. Seen that show. I used to watch it a lot.
Yeah.
Stringer Bell. Tell me about that.
All I can say, I can't say too much about this, but all I can say is, people have been talking about The Wire. It's an amazing show. Watch that show. And I'm one of those people that I don't really get involved in shows until they go out of fashion. So I didn't watch it for years. And then one day I thought, now it's kind of like, the energy's dropped off it a bit. I'll watch it. And there, watching the first season, a familiar voice on the soundtrack comes on. I'm thinking, I know that voice. I know that voice. And then after a while, I thought, that's my voice. That's actually my voice on that soundtrack. That's my track. So I had no idea, actually, that it was even on there.
No email,
no
phone call.
Idea that it was on there. And so, I don't remember, I don't remember saying that, somebody could use that, whatever. I don't remember that part, but,
signing a contract.
I don't remember. No, I don't remember that. But, I definitely heard my voice on that track. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll just leave it there.
Sounds like someone's been naughty. Investigating these happening. Before we go down that road, you've worked with major labels like EMI, Jive, and Zomba. What did you learn from those experiences, and what carried into filmmaking as well?
Right. Well, what I learned from those experiences, just because you're signed to a big label, it doesn't mean you don't have to graft. You really do have to graft, because when you go to these labels, I can remember when I was signed to Warner Brothers East West, On Vogue were on that label at the same time as me, On Vogue, yeah. So, yeah. And so we were doing, I was doing super well. I had lots of I had number ones globally. I was doing really, really well, but not compared to On Vogue. They were absolutely the biggest, girl band on the planet, and quite rightly so, amazing artists. And I really looked up to them, but they were on the same label as me. And basically you get treated like, well, you're not important. So you do have to graft, you have to work, you have to fight for everything. You have to fight to get a video made. You have to fight, even if you're in the charts. They didn't want to, sometimes some people didn't want to put their hands in their pockets. You really had to fight, because you know what, their priority is On Vogue. It's not you.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you've got success in your field, which we did have plenty, but, people are bigger than you, and they're more important. So you just have to realise that and be prepared to put the work in yourself.
Like school.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
You're in year 6, you finish, and then you start again. You're in year 7, beginning of high school, and then you finish.
From scratch. Yeah.
Starting again. And it's like, you've got to keep working. You've got to keep working, and you're never at the top. There's always someone bigger and better than you.
100%. And that's not a bad thing. Groups like that are inspirational. I was just happy to even be there on the same label. That was good for me. But you do have to work. All this business of, you're signed to a major label and everything drops in your lap. No, doesn't happen. You go to, you go, you're there, and it's like, I can remember doing MTV Europe and in Germany, and I was with Barbara Tucker. And she just got that Beautiful People single out, and it was huge, and it was doing really well. And she was also signed to the same label as me at the time. And, we're still doing the same rounds. She was more successful than I was at that point, but she's doing the same shows I'm doing. we're both grafting all then.
How does your film and music careers influence one another? I mean, do you get like a certain type of rhythm from making music that you probably use the same kind of rhythm when making film?
I did an album with a producer called Kai Liekenbrocker from Germany, and he's very talented. And we did an album called Deck to Basics, and it won awards. It was like critically acclaimed album in Europe. And a lot of his music is very filmic. It's very film orientated, So when you're working with a producer like that, he's really talented as well. And you do get those visuals, you do get those visuals in your head. And we're shooting videos that are like films. And so it's a natural progression, really.
It's true about videos. I like films. They got to one stage where music videos were just becoming like films.
Yeah.
The song might be 3 minutes long. The videos 30 minutes, like literally. We've gone past that now, but I do remember them times. When scoring a soundtrack or selecting a soundtrack for a movie, how do you decide when a scene needs silence versus music, especially when you're working in vampire movies?
Yeah, it's apparent. It's apparent when you're looking at the footage. It's apparent. It comes to you what it needs. Sometimes things need to breathe. Music needs to breathe. Films need to breathe. So it's nice I always think of music and films as a journey. You're taking someone on a journey. You're going from one place to another. And it shouldn't just be plain sailing. It should be intriguing. It should have mystery. It should have pain, depth,
If you could collaborate with one contemporary artist on a soundtrack, who would it be and why?
I think it would be Yo-Yo Ma.
Yo-Yo Ma?
Now, Yo-Yo Ma did Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and did all that music and won an Oscar for all that. So I'd love to work
Yo-Yo
with
Ma.
him. Yeah.
I'm gonna go check that out later.
Yeah.
I'll tell you who mine would be. Hans Zimmer.
Oh, and there's another one. Yeah, there's another one.
Hans Zimmer.
Yeah,
hands down.
That music in June was just outstanding.
He got me in Lord of the Rings.
Oh,
so from being a fan from that.
You need to watch the behind the scene for June of how he got the woman. There's a woman who's an amazing I think she's an Arabic artist, and she plays the rarest instrument. And he actually creates instruments that don't exist and builds them for people to play. It's incredible. You need to watch the behind the scenes of that. Her voice is it's outstanding.
No, I will.
Just incredible.
Honestly, that's my...
Everybody who doesn't know what we're talking about the June movie and the theme track where that woman's doing that Arabic singing. Check it out. It's incredible. And they're going over the sand dunes and it's amazing.
Your novel,
yes,
Redfish Volume 1, which is now available on Amazon.
Volume 2 coming shortly.
It's Volume 2 coming shortly. It's a strikingly original story. What inspired it?
My obtuse mind. just like I've got bizarre stories in my head. So yeah, and it's very dark as well.
And what are the major themes that run through Redfish? And what do you hope readers take away from it?
There's a lot of pain in it. There's a lot of wanting to be accepted. It's a human story about a man that's been scarred by a series of really disturbing events, and I don't want to give too much away because it's such a good plot.
Could you give us like a little 60 seconds of a little...
Oh, I can't. I just can't.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah, I just can't. All I can tell you is I've researched that novel for 5 years. It took me 5 years to write that because I went deep into Chinese culture and what the West call mythology, but in Chinese culture, it's not mythology.
We're talking about dragons.
We're talking about everything. We're talking about different kind of magic in it, and it's rooted in their culture, in ancient Chinese culture. So I've done a lot of studying Took a long time to write it so that I really knew what I was talking about. And it's a really interesting plot. So I recommend it, definitely. I mean, it's 5-star rated on Amazon at the moment. So, that's good.
On your Facebook page, Redfish is described as a TV streaming concept. Can you tell us more about that development?
Yeah, I'm in the process of looking into selling that and creating a TV streaming series with it, or a movie.
Okay.
So I've got everything. I'm just currently doing the screenplay at the moment for that to sell. So we've had a lot of interest in that, and a lot of people have had some great things. I can't really say too much about it at this moment in time, but a lot of people have had some really nice things to say about that project.
That's going to follow on to my next question. What has been the public response been like from readers that have from your Meet the Author events, such as the one listed on the St. Helens Bookshop?
Yeah, at the moment, it's going to be my first one, actually. So I haven't had any ones prior, but I have had a lot of feedback from people who've bought my book and read it, and the feedback's incredible. It's amazing. I mean, some of the people are likening the work to Kurosawa, who's the Japanese director, Seventh Samurai. Yeah, so they're saying that my books are like his films. Like, I mean, I'm not saying that. I'm just lucky to be in the same that somebody even listen, I didn't say that, but somebody else thought that. So I think they're just saying that it's so descriptive. It's like his. It reminds them of his films. So that's just an honour in itself, to be honest, to just like someone to even think that,
Redfish.
Yeah, Redfish. Yeah, volumes 1 to 3 are already ready. I'm just finishing the editing on 2 and 3, and they'll be on Amazon definitely by January 2026.
So, Redfish. What is the deeper meaning behind the title Redfish? Because
you see, I can't tell you.
redfish, I'm like, I know, goldfish, and salmon's a bit pink.
Yeah,
Redfish.
I can't actually answer that question, because it's you have to read the novel to work out what the relevance of that is. And if I told you the relevance of that, it would actually spoil the story. Yeah, so I can't give that away, I'm afraid. You're going to have to read that, because there's such a deep meaning to that.
Did you come up with the title first or after you wrote the story?
I wrote the story first, and then I came up with the title.
You were like, Blackfish. Nah, it's been taken. Free Willy. Yeah. Redfish. Hey, Redfish.
Redfish, there you go. Yeah.
Do you plan to expand the series? Well, you already mentioned series 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, and I think so. Well, I've had a lot of feedback from the readers so far. Readers are saying they're happy with it and they'd like to follow that on. So I've got 3 volumes at the moment, and it's open to a 4th. I'd like to make a few more. So yeah, so it might end up being a collection of 6 or 7.
8, maybe. Harry Potter style.
It might be. Might be.
Redfish and the Deathly Hallows.
If people want to keep hearing about it, I'll write.
Do the follow-up Bluefish. Yeah.
Something like
that. What was the most rewarding part of transitioning from a screenwriting to a novel writing? Because it's completely different.
It is definitely different, but it's the same creative process. It's definitely different.
Very different.
In a novel, you just put more detail in. Really. That's really what happens. If you take a script and you add more detail to that, and then a bit more detail and go more in depth, you've really got a novel.
I mean, I'm an actor background, so can I get it with a script? You leave the emotions to the actor to portray and to bring out. You have to whereas with a book, you explaining the emotions,
but there's certain
expressing everything.
Yes, you do, but I like to call it not giving them the birthday cake. So, for instance, if you go to a birthday party, people come out with a lovely big cake, the candles are there, the lights are on, everybody knows what they're getting, right?
True.
But I always think when you're writing, if you want to write a good novel or make a good movie, you don't give them the birthday cake. You give them the plate with a crumb on it. Do you understand what I mean? So you don't give them the obvious.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Because every time you write something or create something, if you give them the obvious, if I say to you, where are you going now? You'll say to me, oh, I'm going such a place, and you'll tell me the place, and you may tell me the person you're meeting. In a book or a novel, you don't do that. You just have your characters saying they've got to go. And then you leave the reader to wonder where they're going, who they're meeting, what are they doing? How are they getting there? What's going on? So, yeah, you've got to take the birthday cake away.
You've built a career in a tough industry. What challenges have you faced as a Black female filmmaker in the UK? That speaks volumes.
Wow. I mean, I just think as a female, you've got to be in a position where you know, a lot of people, they try to take over your stuff because you're a female. So they're like, oh, did you write that? Oh, that's really good. Can I just take over that? And, you know, and you've got to really protect your work because for some reason, you know, people want to, I don't know, they think girls can't do stuff. Some people are out there still thinking that, and they want to take over what you're doing. So you come up with a concept and they just want to like swoop all over it and go right and make it their own. And you're like, no. If you're really that clever, why didn't you think of it in the first place? You know, I'm like, you know, I've been in the studio and it's like you write something and, you know, people can write with me all day long, you know, come up with something better than what I'm doing and we'll do it. You know, if you can't, then we're doing what I need to do. Do you know what I mean? You've got to stand your ground as a girl, but I'm really lucky. I'm working with Gordon West at the moment and he's fantastic. Yeah. Really lovely person inside and out, but also somebody who is exceptionally talented. But he just works, we both just work in the shadows. That's what we've been doing for like 30 odd years. We work in the shadows. If people know what we're up to, that's fine, but we don't really advertise a whole lot about the projects that we're involved in. But it's great to work with people who are, you know, talented, respectful to you as a woman though, you know, and I'm lucky to say that he's like that, and the other producers I've worked with as well that have been great. You know, they've been really respectful and they haven't treated me like, you know, oh, you know, here's another pretty face coming into the studio kind of thing and she doesn't really know anything else, you know. Yeah. So you have to stand your ground as an artist.
Have you noticed the shift in diversity and representation since you began, and obviously the way things have gone now? It's been a long time, over 30 years, but have you seen a change? Has there been change?
There has been change, but I still think that I'm quite feisty. So I'm easy to work with, but I definitely stand my ground and I won't have people steamrolling me at all. So, you know, thankfully I don't need to do a lot of that, you know. But at the same time, I can imagine for people who aren't as confident or, you know, ready to protect the work, they'll probably struggle. You know, a lot of artists out there will get treated like, you know, they don't hold as much value, you know.
Not be much change then.
I think it's difficult to answer that in one sort of foul swoop because it depends on your personality. You've got to, if you look at all the women that are really, really successful, they're quite powerful and they're quite feisty and they won't be steamrolled by anyone. And you have to be like that, you know, because if you're going to be, oh yeah, we'll do what you want, or, you know, you have to stand your ground.
Like J.K. Rowling.
Yeah.
I think someone mentioned there now. Well, she's just like, hey, listen,
it's like
for what I believe in.
Yeah.
I really care if I get cancelled, whatever. Like, cancel me, I'm J.K. Rowling.
Yeah, yeah. You know, I mean, people.
Definitely
Exactly. So yeah, it is. I'd still say don't, you know, believe in yourself. And the other thing I'd give advice, if I had to give any to anybody coming up and wanting to be creative and go into any of the fields that we've discussed, is be your authentic self at all times and don't let people pigeonhole you, and don't listen to what they're doing. You know, if they're all making drum and bass tracks, you make something else. Go and do something else. Believe in what you're doing. I've never listened to what music other people are making. And, you know, of course I've respected it, but I've not thought, oh, you know, let me get on this bandwagon. I'm not that kind of person. I'm a creator, and I'll create the music with the eclectic sounds that I'm making. You know, Gordon's very much like that as well. So we're so on the wavelength. We've got a new single coming out soon called Caterpillar. And we've got a few snippets online that you can listen to on my Facebook page, just giving you a little bit of the groove. But that's, you know, that's had many, many views already, and that's doing really well. So I'm looking forward to releasing a video for that to help promote that as well. And we've got shows coming up in November as well, so you can see live performances as well.
You've spoken about mentoring young creatives. Why is that important to you?
It's hugely important. I mean, I can't go into too much detail as usual, because there's a lot of projects that I'm involved with at the moment. There's some really big projects where that's a concern, and that's the goal, really. It's giving people the opportunity. I look back at my own life and how just even like my daughter's actually with me now. She's off camera, but she's homeschooled and she's having an experience day. And I like to bring her along to things like this, because it's giving her an opportunity to meet different people, to see a different side of life. And if we don't give that to younger people, how else are we going to motivate them to do something creative and do something different? Black people in general, the culture, we need, like we were talking about before, we were talking about how we need these voices and how these voices are important. And by just being involved in community projects, you can give people the opportunity. You know, a young kid in a video or a young kid at a podcast or behind the scenes is going to walk away from that experience thinking, wow, so is this what's going down? How can I continue this? You know, maybe I want to be an interviewer or an actor or an artist or whatever. So for me, just giving them that little window, you know, to say, actually, you don't have to do a regular, you know, 9 to 5 if you don't want to. I mean, it is good to get a regular 9 to 5 to begin with, because it, you know, you need to fund what you're doing. Yeah, you need discipline and you need to fund what you're doing. So, yeah, it's really important. Yeah.
Before I move on to my next question, I just want to elaborate on this homeschooling, because it seems to become quite popular now. I don't want to call it a trend, but a lot of people seem to be taking the option now to homeschool their kids. What brought you to that decision, and how does that work with your creative timetable as well? You know, to be able to be creative and so far throughout the day, and also homeschool on Monday to Friday as well. And again, suppose it's homeschooling, it's 7 days a week. So, you know, how does that all fit into your routine? And then what brought you to the you know, to come to the conclusion or the decision to, you know, choose to homeschool a child?
Well, basically, my daughter's autistic, and she started showing traits of that a couple of years ago. And regular school it wasn't doing what it wasn't the best for her, to be honest. And she was struggling with that. People from that kind of background with those traits, they, you know, anything like noise, loud interactions in class, you know, like there's kids throwing bloody rubbers and pencils like they were back in the day when we went to school. All that's a huge distraction for somebody like that. And she has a different way of looking at the world, and I do as well, because I'm autistic. So it's like, you know, we don't want all that rubbish going on. We can't create, you know, we can't function at our highest level. And that was one of the things where my daughter came home from school one day and I looked in her face and you could see the light dimming in her eyes. And I just thought, I can't actually continue to support mainstream teaching. You know, I've got to find another way. And it's extremely difficult because I'm balancing what I'm doing creatively with what she's doing. But at the moment, it's working really well because we have days like today where it's an experience day, and she'll go home, write an essay about what she's experienced. And she's also got her own blog as well on Instagram. And she likes posting things on there. And we have a schedule. We have a proper maths, English schedule that we follow. And she does a worksheet. She's really quite disciplined, and she's functioning a lot better than she was when she was at school. Like, she actually likes maths now. So
is that something, would you recommend this? Would you recommend this to anybody over, main school schooling?
Well, I would just say each person is different, okay? And I would say, for me, it's definitely worked. Look at your own situation, look at your own child, you know your own child. And if you want that to make that a reality, it's a massive commitment, and it's a serious commitment. And you do need to get a proper schedule together so that you've got a timetable of what happens each day. And then you've got your experience days like we've got today. And you just work through it. But I definitely recommend it to people to certainly try. But look at your own child's needs. I think generally at school at the moment there's too much of they wrap the bullies in cotton wool at school, and for me that's not going to wash. Wash. Getting tired now. Energy levels have to be high. But, I'm getting, that I don't like that. You don't put your arm around the bully all the time and then leave the victim to one side. And it's just becoming more and more like that, By all means, check in with them and see what's making them like that and try and give them support. But you don't ignore the victim, So I think that for me, it's certainly working well. And for my daughter, she really enjoys it, and she's come out of her shell much more, and she's become more confident as a result of it.
Okay, moving back to your career.
Yeah.
Apologies.
Mm-hmm.
What advice would you give to women of colour that will be trying to break into the industry now?
I would just say, master your craft. Whatever that craft is, make sure you're good at what you do. I can remember thinking I want to be a singer, and then I thought, yeah, I have got a nice voice actually. It's all right, but it wasn't amazing. I took like a year or two out and I really practiced, and day and night I sang at the top of my voice with a keyboard player for at least a year, so that when I got my deal, I was ready and the voice was there, and it was finely tuned. And I would say there's lots of people who they don't really, a lot of young artists, some of them are brilliant, exceptional, but there's a lot of young people that are just watching stuff online, and they look at social media and they think they can sing a little bit or dance a little bit and it's enough. And really, if you want a career that's going to span 30 years or 20 years or even last 5 to 10, you really need to put the graft in.
Yeah.
If you're going to be a writer, write as many stories as you can, get them out there, get a blog, do something. Yeah. And one of it will come through. But there's too many people going, oh yeah, I can do that. And you look at the quality of the work, and I look at it and I think, that's not that good,
Well, they said they can do it. They never said good.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so
and this is it.
Yeah.
What would you say, what dangers would you say women should look out for when getting into the creative industry, whether that be in TV, film, or even music? What dangers should they look out for?
Well,
we hear a lot of stories, and conspiracies, you can call them, about the entertainment industry as a whole, TV and film and music. Have you ever came across any dangers that have made you throw your barriers up, red flags that you've come across and seen?
Oh, there's absolutely loads. But there's loads. But my recommendation to young women getting into the industry is, like I said earlier, master your craft, but also don't compromise yourself. If somebody wants you, make sure they don't just want you for your body or your looks or what you might be able to give them. Make sure it's for your talent and your ability, and that's what I can say. Don't compromise yourself, Yeah, don't ever do that, because if I've never had to do that, I'm so fortunate because I've created my job description myself. And I think if you want to sing, create your group, make your own group, and then you're in charge of that group. So nobody could tell me what to do. Nobody could say, oh, you've got to do this, you've got to do that, because I was the creator of it. Then you hold the power. You see, if you've produced it and you're in control of it, you hold the power. So somebody can't come up to you and go, well, do you want to wear something that's a bit shorter, or do you want to do it like this? And I'd just be like, well, no, because this is my work, and my voice is good enough. I don't need to flash lots of beauty or whatever it is these days, or be nice to someone that I don't know just to get somewhere.
So, because you were saying there, make sure that the people don't want you for your body and so forth and that. Has that happened to you? And does that happen where people believe that I'm getting a record deal because I can sing, and it's like, oh, really? He just wants your body. And if people do have encounters, what happens after that? Do they get dropped? I mean, what do you think?
I honestly don't know what happens after. If someone does do that and they compromise themselves, I don't know what happens, because that's never been I've never been in that situation.
You've never been around it, anyway.
I've had people who've assumed that I don't know, I've had invites to a lot of parties where they're trying to invite me on my own without security on my band, and I've said, no thanks, I'm not going to a party like that, You do get invites and people will show interest to you, but if you stand your ground and you just like, listen, you either want this track or you don't. If you don't want it, fine, I'll send it somewhere else. But they never do, because it makes sure your work's good enough. If your work's good enough and you really master your craft, people won't be able to do that. You won't be able to turn it down. Unfortunately, even with the Cassie situation, obviously really feel for that woman.
We're talking about P. Diddy here. Cassie,
yeah,
P. Diddy.
I mean, I really feel that, but sometimes ladies are put in, or young women are put in positions where they feel like they might have to compromise themselves to get somewhere. And I just don't recommend that. If you basically create your own projects, if you want to do a film, get a film, borrow some cameras, go and do it. Don't answer to anyone. And then if you don't answer to anyone, you don't need to compromise yourself. I'm the producer and director of my work, so I don't need to compromise myself. So people can't come up to me and go, oh, right, can you take more clothes off? Or can you do this? Or can you do that? Because I'll just be like, well, no, because who are you to talk? You can't, they're not in a position to be able to force me into that. And I think when in the P. Diddy situation, he's obviously had a lot of power and, an influence on people.
With, I think now how to word this now. With having a career, your music, you get a lot of attention, a lot of male attention.
Oh yeah.
And that attention can come from all different aspects, every single corner of the earth in the room, people that you would never imagine to be watching. Have you had any situations, or had any situations arose where you may have had people harassing you, stalking you, unwanted attention, being a bit threatening, maybe people turning up to your home? I'm just guessing, a little bit like The Bodyguard. I'm thinking back to The Bodyguard now.
Yeah. Well, I've had a situation where someone was stalking me.
Okay.
Thankfully, it went on for quite a while. But if it's, well, sorry, what I meant was, thankfully, it didn't get to the point where it could have been a lot worse, basically. So it was stalking from a bit of a distance, kind of. And this person would literally send me a message, you know, and find my number or message me on social media and say, oh, if you just walk past such and such, I've just seen you. And I'd be like, what? Is this a coincidence? And then you'd go to like the pictures and then they'd be there at the pictures and you'd think, what? You know? So yeah, I've had a little bit of that, but I've never had anything that I couldn't handle, you know. It was annoying, but you know, I've never had anything that's like really threatening or anything like that because like, you know, we deal with that.
But these are like dangers that kind of do come hand in hand with, you know, with, suppose, with vulnerable females getting into the entertainment industry. Do you think there needs to be some awareness and training and, you know, something just to be done about that? Like people need to be prepared and have a plan of action when they're getting into the industry because these things do happen, and when they do, a lot of people are a bit overwhelmed and not sure what to do, or, well, like,
yeah, I mean,
it's going to happen.
Of course, yeah. I mean, people need to sort of educate themselves on these matters. You know, I think there's enough content on YouTube to help people out there who are, you know, finding difficulties in those areas. But you just have to stand your ground, you know. I mean, I had to put a post up recently on my Facebook saying, you know, guys, I've written an article called Thirsty Man, you know, check it out. And it's literally, you're connecting with people online, but these people are going, they think it's some kind of dating show. And it's like, hang on a minute, can you not just accept me as an artist, as a professional?
You just backtrack a little bit. Yeah.
You know, and just accept that I don't want anything sexual off you.
But can we just backtrack? You wrote an article called Thirsty Man.
Yeah.
Where? Article for who?
For the Thirsty Man, damn.
What was it about?
Thirsty Man. It was about people. You're connecting on Facebook, and it's about these men are like in your DMs, sliding in your DMs, going, yeah, you know, what do you really look like? Can you send me a picture? And I'm like, are you for real? Get on a date. This isn't a dating site.
Really look,
you know?
like should have sent me a picture of a guy like,
yeah,
gotcha.
Yeah. I mean, it just amazes me how you can, you know, present yourself as an artist, and just because you look a certain way, some people are thinking, oh, in their minds, you know, are you offering something else, or is there a way they can get into you somehow, or whatever? And I just think it's sad. You know, connect with people. Facebook is a social media platform. Instagram is a social media platform. All these platforms are so we can connect and we can network with each other and we can share laughter, you know, or pain, and just respect it, man. Stop thinking that girls that are cute on, you know, on these platforms just want men. You know, we're creatives. Respect us, man.
Respect them.
Yeah,
they're creative.
Stop being silly.
Seedy guys, you know.
Stop being all egotistical, thinking just because a nice looking woman's there that she's after you and she wants to have your babies, because we don't want to have your babies.
You heard it from her mouth yourself. Yeah, they don't want your babies.
We're not interested. We're too busy being creative.
Being creative. Stop, guys.
Yeah.
Making us look bad.
Chill.
So, you've teased some new projects on Instagram.
Yes.
Can you share any details?
Yeah, just more music coming in the future, more books, be showcasing a lot more of my film work. And yeah, I've got a few great projects in the pipeline, some nice big projects, juicy ones. I can't really talk about them at the moment, but you know, you'll hear about those in 2026, but it's just more and more creativity coming out.
Where do you see yourself and Wallpaper Films in the next 5 years?
Well, I just see producing streaming television series.
Streaming?
You know, yeah. Like that. You know, yeah.
Streaming?
Yeah. Movies, TV streaming series. That's what I'm into at the moment. And putting some of my music in the productions as well.
Do you plan to expand globally or
we already on that tip. Yeah.
Okay, already expanding globally.
Yeah.
So here's an interesting question for you, because you seem to be a kind of a different creative individual, not someone you could just put into a box. I kind of talk about myself like that, but I think I've met my match today. Like, you know, I can't really put you into a box. How do you measure success personally when you're doing so many different things and you're accomplishing in so many different fields as well? Like, do you get to a stage where the accomplishments are just chores because it's not really a challenge, or it's kind of, you know, if you're used to winning so much in every field, it's kind of like, where does the success come from? It's kind of like, it's supposed to be that way. I'm supposed to do that. I'm supposed to complete it. I'm supposed to win.
No, it's more about the joy of sharing your artistry with people. So, for instance, I love it when I get a little message off somebody and they say, oh, I've just started reading your book, it's captivating, or, you know, blah, 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 or I've heard this and this track, I really like this track, or they've seen something. Sometimes I write like an inspirational quote or a little story of my little adventures in the world, and people really respond to that. So, to me, it's the little messages and connections of real people in the real world that really make my heart sing, because at the end of the day, you can get awards, but really all these awards and things like that, it's great to get acknowledged, but it doesn't really mean that much, if you know what I mean. It's more about going, I had this and I basically thought of an idea, Redfish, and now it's a book. And all my friends for years and years were like, when are you going to get this book out? Oh my God, how long? It's taking you so long to write this book. And eventually it's seeing it out there now and getting the response from the people. So to me, that's what drives you forward, because people will send you a message and say, oh, I'm from such a country, I've just bought this book, or I've just done this, or I've seen some of your work here or there. And the feedback's great because you think, gosh, they've tapped into my little creative bubble. And so for me, that's the real thing that keeps you going. That's the real award, to be honest.
So after all your accomplishments in all these different fields, do you feel like is there anything that you're missing? Anything that you feel like I want to do? I don't know, maybe you might go swim with sharks. I don't know. Like, you know, is there anything that you feel like you want to do still on the bucket list?
I don't really look at it like that. I just feel like your life's organic and it goes where it goes. I don't really have a list of things that I want to achieve. I just think to myself, I'll do what comes naturally to me as a creative. So I start this process off, and if it leads to a cameo in a film or this or that or whatever, it leads there. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I don't really think about that. I just think about, oh, I've got this great idea for this. Let me execute it. And it goes where it goes. It's like releasing a little butterfly. Boom, it goes. It flies where it flies. It goes where it goes. And, you know, it reaps what it sows, if you like. You know, that's it, really.
What kind of legacy do you want to leave behind for upcoming filmmakers, storytellers? Like, what do you want to be your mark?
I just like people to look at me and think, wow, she's just like, she does everything, you know, she tries to do everything, and, you know, it help to inspire people to think, well, you're a mom, you can do all these things, because there's lots of really hard-working mums that are out there.
Yeah.
And you don't have to be a singer or a filmmaker to be special. Everyone's special. Everyone's got their own uniqueness to them. And just being a mum and looking after your children and taking care of your own children in your family is amazing in itself. So really, you know, if that inspires them to feel powerful one day, you know, just to feel good about themselves, then that's great.
What's your morning routine when you're not filming, when you're not writing, and when you're not singing? What's your morning routine when you're just being Mizz Kassim? Well, I've been the pressure of. I'm a bit of a workaholic, to be honest, and I don't really have many days off. I'm constantly working all the time. But if I do have some time off, I just usually get up. I usually start doing about 200 crunches before I even sit up off my bed. Working out, yeah?
Yeah, I literally get up and do 200 crunches and then go, right, that's that part. And then I start getting washed and dressed, get ready, go downstairs, make some kind of weird tea, fruit tea and start having my breakfast. And I just sort of like, you know, relax. Just try and relax as much as possible and touch base with the, you know, your loved ones, you know, chat to my mum, you know, chat to people. Just a regular day, really. I don't do anything special, but if I'm not working, it's I like to work from home, and I like to be at home. I'm a bit of a homebody because I've got that dual personality where I'm very sociable, but I can be very introvert as well.
That's only
Gemini.
I was just gonna say that.
Yeah.
I'm a Gemini.
Oh, you.
I get it. I understand.
Yeah, because everyone thinks we're psychopaths, don't we? That's nice, but we're psychos, but we're not. I just like, yeah.
One's quiet. I thought, she's a Gemini, but I don't want to say it like I'm. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, very introverted at times. Like don't get me wrong, I'm out, I see people, I love interacting with them, but at the same time, I really like just sitting there on my own and saying, you know, can I just sit in silence? Because that's where a lot of my creativity goes on when I'm on my own.
I like it when I'm in a spa, just sit on my own in the front of the pool, queue, and just sit on my own.
Yeah.
Just wonder. And that's where it comes together, the ideas, and I go, I've got it now.
Yeah.
I knew I would.
Yeah.
Drove 10 miles to get here, but I've got it.
Exactly, yeah.
Right, I'm going to ask you some questions now. I want snappy answers because you've got so much.
I'm so scared of this section.
I feel like if I would ask you questions, you think from which aspect we're speaking of. Is it music? Is it writing?
Yes.
It's like, no, just snappy.
Oh, gosh.
Favourite film of all time?
You're crushing me now. There's too many.
Just only one.
Oh, my gosh. This is so hard for me. Okay. Oh, I can't do it. I don't know if I can do this. I really can't. I cannot think. I can't. I have to choose, don't I?
Too much creativity.
It's got to be something from. It's got to be something from Alfred Hitchcock. So it could be.
Psycho.
Could be Psycho. Could be The Birds. It could be Marnie. It could be. It's anything from him. Anything from him, and Akira Kurosawa as well. Seven Samurai. See him.
Only one.
I know.
See,
just pick one from those.
Just one.
Just pick one from all those.
Psycho.
A
book everybody should read.
Gosh. Cyclomancy.
Okay, I don't know.
It's a rare book.
A rare book.
Yeah, you can't actually get it anymore, but it's a rare book.
What's it called?
Cyclomancy.
Cyclomancy.
Just type that in.
Cyclomancy.
And then you'll get whatever you'll get.
The best advice you ever received and from who?
Probably my mum.
Nice.
And she just said to me, whenever I come to her with a problem and I say, oh, you know, this has happened, that's so, and my mum just looks up and she goes, it's trivia. It's trivia. She just goes, it's trivia. Everything's trivia. So that makes me think. And then one day when she said that, I thought, actually, it is. In the scheme of things, you're worrying about stuff that really is trivia. She likes to deal with real world problems like your health. It's like if it's not about your health, it's trivia. And it helps you to ground yourself. So I'd definitely say that, yeah.
What would you tell your younger self?
Keep doing what you're doing because it's working.
Nice. Describe yourself in 3 words. Only 3.
Feisty, creative, and kind.
Feisty, creative, and kind. Never met a kind, feisty person, but hey. What's something most people don't know about you? What don't we know? We've learned a lot today, but what don't we know? One thing.
Oh, I'm trying to think of something that's PG. What don't we know? I can't think of anything, you know. There's that many things.
Black thing.
Okay. That I've met Sting and he picked me up at the airport.
Okay. Sting, yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't like that. It was platonic. I was with other people, but yeah, came to meet me at the airport in Scotland. That was nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, damn, you've had a proper journey, haven't you, man?
Yeah.
How do you relax after a long creative day? Is it red or white?
Do you know what? I don't drink that much. I really don't drink. I can't remember the last time. I think the last time. No, I can't. It's months. Yeah. I do like wine. I do like having the odd cocktail and stuff like that. But I just find that I just don't drink as much at all. I mean, I'll literally go months without drinking. And I read something about it killing your brain cells off. And that worries me about the creativity. So I'm just thinking, don't really know if I want to kill about 1,000 brain cells off by having a glass of wine. Maybe I'm overthinking it because I'm autistic, but probably I'm overthinking it. But yeah.
Sorry. Right. If you could be remembered for one project, which project will that be and why? Just one. You can only be remembered for one project.
Gosh, that's too difficult, that.
Take time.
One project.
One project that you can be remembered for. And why?
Well, I'm just going to go with a film, that short, my vampire short, because it encapsulates me. I'm just going to go with that one.
Where can I watch this? I need to see this.
It's on Vimeo, but it's hidden. Because I don't know why I just hide loads of videos because I'm scared no one will like them. but they do. But no, I just like hiding my stuff everywhere. Work in the shadows. But no, I'll put it online. I'll dig it out and put it online.
That's true.
Yeah, I'll put it on my Facebook page.
So many creative people.
Don't forget to follow me on Instagram, Mizz_Kassim on Instagram.
And Kassim is Kassim.
Yeah.
Kassim.
And Mizz Kass on Facebook.
Mizzy, MIZZY KASS.
Yeah.
Mizz Kass on Facebook. Well, Mizz Kassim, it's been a pleasure.
Oh, it's been a pleasure for you.
Thank you for coming down. And bringing your daughter along as well. She's been, you've been great, been a star in the corner. I don't know how she sat there without being bored in my voice. But, it's been great. We've learned a lot today. I know there is so much more that I don't know about you. So
yeah,
we will at some stage have to do a follow-up part 2. I'm guessing there'll be a part 3 as well. There's a lot of things happening.
Okay.
So yeah, definitely. Okay. But thank you for coming to the show.
Oh, thank you so much for inviting me, JC. I've had a great time.
No problem. And thank you all for tuning into Are We There Yet? We look forward to seeing you in the next episode where we're going to have in the building. Haha. Cheers.